रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा सिम। MDH का जलजीरा जीरा सिम।
जीरा सिम, असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MDH।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
हमें धीरज के साथ, संयम के साथ
The Pakistan mediation that wasn't. Iran blocks Pakistan mediation attempt. Debating tonight at 8 p.m.
Co-presenting by Zoho Business Software, trusted by 15 crore users. Co-powered by Greenply, हर जरूरत का रिप्लाई।
Opposition gaslighting LPG protests. A political angle to LPG crisis. Debating tonight at 8:30 p.m.
Co-presenting by Zoho Business Software, trusted by 15 crore users. Co-powered by Greenply, हर जरूरत का रिप्लाई।
War escalation or ceasefire. Marines land nuke plant hit. Debating tonight at 9 p.m.
Presented by Amity University, ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally. Powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, growing legacies since 1820. Century Premium Plus. Jaguar Bath and Light. Co-powered by UTI Mutual Fund, हक एक बेहतर जिंदगी का। TVS N-Torq 150, India's first 150cc hyper sport scooter. मुथूट फाइनेंस गोल्ड लोन, सोना क्या नहीं कर सकता।
America loves a war. Trump, I believe, makes money from the wars by changing the line, having the inside information. There is some insider trading going on. They are making hundreds of billions of dollars. The moment the money is made, he goes back and does what he was doing. There was never supposed to be a ceasefire at all. It was about offering a small-term sentimental change in the market. Trump has realized that this war is going to peter out. He's not going to be able to sustain this war beyond a 10-day period. He's got to make the money in the short term. America has now realized that they have not won the war. It's only about sharing the spoils of the war. Post-war, there's going to be an infrastructure boom, the maximum money. Same American companies will be down there in the Middle East for reconstructive work in the Middle East. This is what Trump knows very well. He's doing futures trading. But let me tell Donald Trump he's going to be very weak politically after the war.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate. Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, how Pakistan made a fool of itself by thinking it's going to mediate. On the debate tonight, why I think the government's handling is absolutely fine and the opposition should stop gaslighting protests on LPG. And at 9 o'clock tonight, as we predicted, there is no ceasefire. It was a hoax. The war can only escalate now. On the global stage, Pakistan has made a fool of itself once again. And along with Pakistan, all the other people, including some members of the opposition in India who took Pakistan very seriously and said that they're going to mediate between Iran and Israel and America, and that's how great Pakistan is. Well, the Middle East is on fire. And look at what Jairam Ramesh says. Jairam Ramesh says Pakistan's diplomatic engagement and narrative management has been superior markedly to that of the Modi government. Well, Jairam Ramesh, thank God you've never been in diplomacy and never possibly will be, because you're the only one who takes Shehbaz Sharif seriously. Shehbaz Sharif had offered, and that's what got Jairam Ramesh so excited. Shehbaz Sharif said that I'm going to mediate, I'm going to have conclusive talks, and I'm going to be right there in the center, and Pakistan is ready and honored to be the host of a comprehensive settlement between Israel and Iran and America. And then he tagged Donald Trump, he tagged the foreign minister of Iran, he tagged US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, as if you can sit there and tag people and be a mediator. And Donald Trump, of course, retweeted him, shared the screenshot on Truth Social, retweeted him, and Islamabad went into a total mad frenzy after that. There was no confirmation. Nobody said that Pakistan is going to be a mediator. There was not a word from Iran, but there was this Pakistani journalist, he's coming on my program today as well. He said that Witkoff and the Iranian foreign minister are coming to negotiate, Raja Faisal there. Then the Pakistani media outlet called Sama TV said, China praises Pakistan's mediation. Well, you have to do something to be praised, right? Geo News put out a headline which says, Pakistan deliver US proposal to Iran ahead of possible talks. So they said Pakistan is a postman. Dawn was thinking that Indians are jealous and said Pakistan's move leaves Indian media shocked. Which Indian media? Which Indian media? Dawn News. But the only people who took Pakistan seriously were the Congress, of course led by Jairam Ramesh, who said the Pakistanis are fantastic in narrative management, well as fantastic as you, Jairam, or as ghastly as you. You see, ladies and gentlemen, what Jairam Ramesh and people in Pakistan don't realize is that mediation does not happen by putting tweets or posts on Truth Social. Everybody talks to everybody. Pakistan needs to understand an actual mediation does not take place by tweeting about it. For example, Trump meeting Putin in Alaska, that's genuine mediation attempt without an intermediary, together between both sides. So if you saw those visuals of Trump meeting Putin in Alaska, that was direct conversation. Besides which, where is the possibility of mediation when Iran has rejected everything? Let me start with Iran. Iran does not come on the table, then there is no table. I don't know which table Shehbaz Sharif is going to be sitting on, where he believes Donald Trump would come or send Witkoff and send Jared Kushner, but nobody is going to come from the Iranian side. Look at what Arakchi said. Arakchi said, the negotiations with the Americans are over forever, a bitter experience and betrayal after promises of no attack. There is no longer any room for dialogue with the Americans. And similar comments made by their speaker, Iran's speaker Galipaf, who said no negotiations have been held with the US. And everything that is being put out is nothing but absolutely fake news by the Israelis and the Americans. And then we had a spokesperson for Iran military command who said, has the level of your inner struggle reached the stage of you negotiating with yourself? People like us can never get along with people like you. That was the spokesperson of the Iran Unified Armed Forces Tribunal who put out that tweet. So it's all gone totally wrong for Pakistan, and Pakistan doesn't know where to look because everybody's rejected the possibility of any conversation. But Pakistan says not only is there a conversation, but they believe that they are sitting there on the table and Trump is going to fly in and Arakchi is going to fly in and Marco Rubio is going to come in and J.D. Vance is going to come, and the solution for all of this will be found in Islamabad. Now, eventually, things got so bad with Shehbaz Sharif that Iran's envoy to Pakistan had to contradict and say there is no question of direct or indirect negotiation. So the man sitting in Islamabad for Iran said, there is no negotiation. In effect, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, can you please keep quiet? Can you please shut up? And ladies and gentlemen, let me ask the question. Here is a country, Pakistan. It cannot even make peace with Afghanistan. It gets beaten up by the Taliban every second day. And China had to broker a diplomatic upgrade between Pakistan and the Taliban in May 25. Both sides have been having airstrikes against each other, the Taliban, Kabul and Islamabad. So you can't even sort out your problems with Afghanistan. And you say that you are going to be, having a negotiation between Israel, America on one side and Iran on the other. How stupid is that? Besides, Pakistan is not neutral. How can an intermediary be a party which has taken sides? Pakistan is on the American side. They have a mutual defense agreement with Saudi Arabia. They've signed a strategic mutual defense agreement, or the SDMA, on September 2025, where they said that if anything happens to Saudi Arabia, we'll defend them. And Pakistan's own foreign minister, Ishaq Dar, has invoked this pact against Iran publicly, which means he said that we are on the American side. How can one of the members of the American side come and be an intermediary vis-a-vis Iran? And one more point, Iran does not trust Afghanistan. If you think Iran is forgotten, Iran has a very strong memory, because just in January 2024, 2 years ago, Iran had launched a barrage of 15 missiles into Balochistan, which is going to be free soon, targeting terrorist hideouts. Pakistan recalled its ambassador. Iran's ambassador was barred from returning to Islamabad. Children were killed. All of this happened less than 2 years back. Point being that Iran does not trust Pakistan at all, because Pakistan is literally in bed with its enemy, US and Saudi Arabia, through the SDMA pact. So, viewers, America also, by the way, does not trust Pakistan. Let's not forget that Pakistan sheltered Osama bin Laden, and the fact of the matter is the most violent protests against the Americans happened in Pakistan, where so many people were killed in Karachi, and American security staff had to open fire to save their lives. This is the track record of Pakistan. So what leverage does Pakistan have? What leverage does Pakistan have? To be a mediator, you got to have leverage. This is the simple point that the Congress party here in India and Pakistanis don't understand. Pakistan cannot control its own border with Afghanistan. It cannot be a mediator. It was bombed, and it bombed Iran 2 years ago. It is in a defense pact with Iran's enemy. Its economy is on a IMF life support machine. Its own military chief is managing a war on its western frontier with Afghanistan. Whether its talks materialize or not, let me make one clear prediction: Pakistan will have no role in it. Then what is happening? Well, in conclusion, let me tell you, and if anybody is in Pakistan is watching it, Pakistan is a country with no self-respect. It's trying to play catch-up. It wants to be taken seriously. I'll show you 4 visuals of how they are trying to play catch-up. 4 visuals. 1, the suitcase opening shot of Munir. Can I play that? He goes there to Washington and opens up the suitcase and says, I am here to sell my country's minerals, please buy me. Ladies and gentlemen, that's an attempt at playing catch-up. Do you remember the visual of Shehbaz Sharif running up the stairs trying to catch up with Putin and Kim Jong-un in Moscow? And he had to be pushed back by the security guard. If you look at that visual, you're going to see him there. He was trying to run right ahead, but he was blocked by the security guard from doing so. He was not in the picture. That's called playing catch-up, ladies and gentlemen. Then you remember the visual with where Modi and Putin were walking past, and there was a shot of a cross-eyed, jealous, left-out Shehbaz Sharif looking in nervously like a sentry on post. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, a desperate attempt by paying $1 billion, which he's not paid yet, to join the peace board with Trump. You put all in all together, Pakistan just wants to be in the photo op. Pakistan wants to be considered to be a relevant and serious country. But today, as we all know, this whole story yesterday that they are going to be playing mediator has been thrown into the dustbin. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's no mediator. Pakistan is not even a host. Let's debate.
Like beggars cannot be choosers, aggressors cannot be mediators. Islamabad has now expressed eagerness to mediate in a war it can do nothing about. While President Trump welcomed the bid, he too couldn't care to confirm. Meanwhile, Iran has not just rejected negotiations but has cut Islamabad out of it totally.
قدرت راهبردی که از آن دم می‌زدید تبدیل به شکست راهبردی شده. مدعی ابرقدرتی دنیا اگر می‌توانست از این مخمسه رها شود تا حالا شده بود. اسم شکستتان را توافق نگذارید. دوران وعده‌هایتان به سر رسیده.
Pakistan's Salane was forced to reverse course at the entrance to the crucial waterways due to the absence of transit authorization. Iran, standing its ground, has systematically rejected any truce negotiations. And how can Islamabad, which is indebted to the US on one side and has a defense pact with Saudi Arabia on the other, be neutral after all? A puppet of the US, a regional chaos maker, a terror harboring hanger, there are many ways one can describe Pakistan, and mediator is not one of them.
Raja Faisal, as you predicted yesterday, has Witkoff reached Islamabad?
No, not yet. And I
Achha.
did say it yesterday.
But you said yesterday that some very high-profile person told you that the Iranian foreign minister is also coming in the afternoon, that today afternoon. Where is he? Iranian foreign minister is in Islamabad?
Exactly. And one confirmation which is coming from the Iranian side is that they don't want to talk to somebody who's from the Zionist camp. They don't want to talk to somebody who's from the Zionist camp. They only want to talk to someone who's American and who can speak to them for the American stakes and American interests. Because they believe that...
But you said yesterday, if I may remind you, you see what he said yesterday. You remember General Bakshi, you were there, and he said, you were there, and Raja said that highest level people in the Pakistani establishment have told him that Witkoff and Arakchi are landing.
I didn't say the highest level of establishment people.
And then Geo News and Sama TV and Dawn News said this is so exciting, and you know Pakistan's a global mediator. We have become a very important country. You remember General Bakshi? He said all that yesterday. You remember that?
Absolutely.
What happened in your view, General Bakshi? Yeah.
Arnab, may I?
Yeah.
Look, Arnab, Pakistan's credentials as an honest broker between Iran, United States, Israel are, I would say, rather suspect. And let me explain why. In the last 3 months, you know, Asim Munir has been to Donald Trump, the aggressor in this case, 3 times. It is understood that in the first meeting, he was informed that the United States and Israel may, in all probability, be attacking Iran, and that he expected support from Pakistan, and he had given all his readiness to offer that support. There are news reports to the extent that the CIA wanted to funnel in arms to the Baluch rebels in Sistan, Baluchistan via Pakistan, and Pakistan's ISI complied fully. If you remember, there was that CIA ship which had landed at Karachi with weapons, with arms. There were some, sabotage attempts at that particular ship, but they have been supplying arms to Sistan, Baluchistan.
Yeah.
Very much to the Sunni rebels to open up a third front against the Iranians. You remember all those stories of the Kurds coming in from the north as our boots on the ground, and the Baluchis coming in from the south, and the Azeris. Then there is, as you have very rightly pointed out, the issue of the agreement, the pact with Saudi Arabia. If any attack on Saudi Arabia will be treated as an attack on Pakistan, right? And Saudi Arabia quite obviously is going to thump the table and ask you to put in a lack of troops. From where do you do that? So I think Asim Munir thought a very smart way out of this imbroglio would be to say, I am mediating, sir. I am helping you mediate. So that takes the
Not at all.
pressure off his back. The other thing, as I
Sir, I
mentioned
would like
to
to
you,
respond.
No,
Raja,
no, one minute. General Bakshi, let me just
you.
come back to the moot issue again. Listen, I just want to know today, Shomela, that all of Pakistan has announced that Witkoff is coming and he's going to be having meetings with the Iranians. Do you think some people got too excited that they put this news out? Because Iran is saying we're not coming. In fact, the Iranian ambassador in Karachi has had to put out a denial.
Arnab, this is called backdoor diplomacy. Secondly, जो सिचुएशन अभी चल रही है, जितने aggressive मूड में दोनों पार्टीज हैं, आपको क्या लगता है कि पाकिस्तान दोनों को ऑफर करेगा और दोनों फौरन बैठ जाएंगे?
नहीं, वही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ ना कि मुझे तो नहीं लगता है, मगर आपके यहाँ पे जो आपकी पूरी मीडिया ने ये हवा कर दिया है कि वहाँ पे सब लोग इस्लामाबाद में आके बात कर रहे हैं, तो मैं सिर्फ आपसे ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि आपने क्या जल्दबाजी में ये हवा कर दिया कि आपको थोड़ा सा सोच समझ के?
जल्दबाजी में नहीं है, जो इन्फॉर्मेशन थी उन्हीं के अकॉर्डिंग
क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन थी? कहाँ से इन्फॉर्मेशन थी? कहाँ से इन्फॉर्मेशन थी?
और ये जो अगर भारत को लगता है, इंडिया को लगता है वो चौधरी है इस खत्ते का, तो जाहिर सी बात है
कहाँ से इन्फॉर्मेशन थी?
अगर पाकिस्तान मीडिएशन कराएगा,
कहाँ से इन्फॉर्मेशन थी आपको?
आप यू विल सी आपका चैनल चल नहीं सकता अगर आप पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ बात
आई एम सेइंग कि आपने जो कहा कि आप देखिए, राजा इज हियर टुडे. माधव, yesterday Raja said, and I was surprised. I said, see, what the hell is going on? I said, see, Raja, you guys are being used. You don't know what's going on. The only thing unpredictable about Trump is that he's unpredictable, but you get too excited every time, and then you say, oh, but we've been let down. They are so desperate to be a lackey.
That's not an excitement, but
you think whatever Trump was claiming, whatever Trump was sharing on his social mediums was our excitement? No, he was excited, and of course there is something going on which is not to be disclosed to everyone, and that is why it is being kept under the rugs.
You got to understand one thing, Raja. You cannot be a self-appointed mediator. Listen. Listen.
Of Field Marshal Sayyid Asim
Listen. Let me tell you your real place in the world. Shomela and Raja, let me tell you your real place in the world. Let me tell you your real place in the world. Let me tell you your real place in the world. You got to understand, and Madhav Nalapat can tell you that you are among the countries, right, whose visas have been frozen with the US State Department. Your immigration is stopped. There's an indefinite suspension on your country by the US State Department.
Not at all.
You are. And the second point is Iran. Madhav, you can't jump in and say, I'm going to mediate. You can't behave like that. Today, even their ships are not being allowed through Hormuz. Even the Pakistani ships are not allowed through Hormuz.
Can't do it.
No, India's ships are moving. Sorry, we are a big country. We're not like you. We are a big
India
country.
doesn't want to do it.
No, but my point is that I just wish to ask you, Madhav, what is going on? These guys are, Madhav, you got to talk to Faisal. He's so excited about Pakistan being a mediator here.
You're very right about one thing. Donald Trump's popularity is going down the sinkhole. The fact of the matter is that even in the Mar-a-Lago, that area, his party has lost to the Democratic Party. He has lost terribly. As for the so-called mediation effort we're concerned, we all know that for a long time Pakistan was an ally of the United States, and in fact helped the United States quite a bit in Afghanistan. We all know that. I mean, Pakistan essentially, unfortunately, may not be right or may be right, is regarded as a gun for hire. As for Donald Trump, some days ago, he said he's giving a 48-hour ultimatum to Iran. Either you surrender your nuclear weapons or you get blasted off the face of the earth. Then 48 hours later, he says, oh, the Iranians have worked out a good solution with us. Now I'm suspending all attacks on Iran for the next 5 days. Then immediately he sends thousands and thousands of troops, including 1,000 airborne troops, to the region, or presumably attacking Iran. And then the very next hour, he says, well, we already won the war. The war is already won. Now, Arnab, you can make any sense out of all this. Then,
No, Professor Nalapat, even Papua New Guinea can put out a tweet. Even Papua New Guinea can put out a tweet. Even Venezuela can put out a tweet saying we are ready to mediate. Why do you want to do this dalali? Listen to me. When nobody is... See, I'll tell you, Iran and Israel has not validated your offer. Nobody is validating. Why did you have to go public with it, Raja, with such confidence? And I find it laughable the way the Pakistani media has been jumping at it.
They are validating it. It's only your media
who's validating it.
That is obviously talking about.
Who's validating it? You know, on 23rd March, Hassan Ahmadian, a respected professor at the University of Tehran, said that Trump is using,
vice president. They have agreed, but to the right person, and to them, right person is the vice president.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you.
Jared Kushner is Jewish, and they don't want to talk to someone who's from the Zionists.
No, listen, I'll tell you. Please, General Bakshi, I want you to come in very specifically focused on this mediation issue out here, right? I find it impossible to believe that there is a country that believes that putting out a tweet is becoming a mediator. I don't know whether to laugh or to cry, Shumela, at you guys.
That's the whole world, Arnab. That's your problem. You cannot impose your views to anyone.
But who are you? Shumela, who has told you to mediate?
Who are you to ask us?
But Shumela, who has told you to mediate?
आपकी क्या औकात है पूछने की? आपकी औकात क्या है पूछने की पाकिस्तान से कि कौन हो? आप कौन?
You need a mediator with Afghanistan?
आपका अच्छा है ना? अफगानिस्तान के टॉपिक अलग है, वो हमें पता है हम क्या
अलग नहीं है.
Asim Muni knows very well. Asim Muni knows very well how to treat Afghanistan, how to treat India, and he can meditate between Iran, inshallah. And you will see. आपको तकलीफ होती है जब आप चौधरी नहीं बन पाते किसी चीज में. सारा प्रॉब्लम ये.
See, आपको चौधरी बनने की इतनी पड़ी है, मगर कोई बताए तो आपको चौधरी बनने को किसने कहा? Listen. I'll tell. No. Please tell me. Give me some proof. अभी आपने announcement कर दी है, Shumela. You can't pull back. General Bakshi. The point is now they are pulling back. They are saying we did not claim.
You will see.
तो आप
आप मुझे प्लीज
wait and watch.
You are desperate on this.
मोहतरमा, आप मुझे ये समझाएं.
एक मिनट, जनरल बख्शी कुछ पूछ रहे हैं. 1 minute, Shumela, 1 minute.
चल रहा है वहाँ ईरान पाकिस्तान के बीच आप करा रहे हैं. आपका जहाज क्यों रोका है IRGC ने? आज हिंदुस्तान के जहाज तो बड़े आराम से वहां से निकल रहे हैं. हमारे गैस टैंकर्स बड़े आराम से निकल रहे हैं. आपका जहाज क्यों रोका आज?
ऑयल को लेके
आप मुझे ये समझा दीजिए ना.
पाकिस्तान को तकलीफ नहीं है पेट्रोल और ऑयल को लेके. पाकिस्तान परेशान नहीं जितना हिंदुस्तान परेशान है. उनका रूट के लिए
आपका टैंकर क्यों रोका ना? आई एम आस्किंग यू अ स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन. और फिर मैं आपको, अगर आप नहीं दे सकती उसका जवाब, मैं आपको बताऊंगा अगर आप सुनेंगी.
आप जो दिखाना चाहते हैं उसका नहीं हो रहा है कुछ भी. जब से प्रोग्राम शुरू होता है, एंड होता है, तो आप लोग एक ही एजेंडा के साथ चल रहे होते हैं अपने, बजाय इसके कि एक रिस्पॉन्सिबल मीडिया के तौर पे आप लोग काम करें इस इलाके में, इस खित्ते में. आप उल्टा प्रोपेगेंडा मीडिया के सिवा कुछ बात नहीं करते हैं. हर चीज को रॉन्ग वे से पोर्ट्रे करना, दिस इज द हैबिट ऑफ इंडिया.
देखिए,
वो जो चौधरी बनने का शौक आप लोगों का,
मैंने आपको बड़े धीरज से सुना. मैंने आपको बड़े धीरज से सुना. थोड़ा मेरे को भी सुन लीजिए. कल राजा साहब को मैंने बताया था कि साहब एक चीज का ख्याल रखना, डोनाल्ड ट्रंप जब भी पीस टॉक्स की बात करते हैं वो लड़ाई की तैयारी कर रहे होते.
करेक्ट.
मैंने समझाया था राजा साहब को, वो लड़ाई की तैयारी कर रहे होते हैं. 2 बार उन्होंने ईरान के पीठ में छुरा घोंपा है टॉक्स का मुद्दा उठाकर. थोड़ा सा केयरफुल रहिए कि ईरान बहुत बुरी तरह से आपको मिसअंडरस्टैंड करेगा अगर उसको लगेगा कि आप अमेरिकन डिसेप्शन प्लानिंग में उसका सपोर्ट.
No. The point is that
आप चाहते हैं कि ईरान तीसरी बार.
Raja, just wait. Let General Bakshi complete. Raja. See, understand what General Bakshi is telling you, Raja. Please, let's not get quarrelsome on this. See, what General Bakshi is telling you is that you'll be between a rock and a hard place. I'll tell you why. You've got a defense pact with Saudi Arabia that you cannot honor. Okay? Because obviously you don't want to upset, you don't beyond a point of time, you cannot send your forces, allow me to complete, to defend Saudi Arabia vis-a-vis Iran. Because you have a long border with Iran, you'll get into trouble with them. Second point here, you have become part of the deception tool of the Americans, and usually most responsible countries apply 2 or 3 levels and layers of thinking before making a public announcement. Even if some junior clerk in the White House told you to put out a tweet, you should not have put out the tweet that we are mediating.
India has a
you are being used.
Considering Pakistan.
They're going to drop you like a hot potato, man, like a hot potato, and never look at you again.
You think
you're the only people in the world today who take Donald Trump at face value. Congratulations for that.
I fully agree with Jana Bakshi when he says that, of course, US track record of having talks and then later on bombing Iran. You think Pakistan is fool, it doesn't know, and still getting into this business. Pakistan is wanting peace in the region, and that is why offering whatever it has to perform and to provide them with a platform.
No, what are you getting in turn, sir? For making a fool of yourself, what are you getting in turn?
And Jana Bakshi
today the whole world is asking you, who told you to mediate?
Jana Bakshi earlier mentioned that...
No, but what are you getting? What is your benefit? Raja, before you address General Bakshi, directly address me. What are you getting, sir? What is your benefit in this?
Pakistan countering the terrorism in Afghanistan. And these 3 meetings, of course, we were conducting with them because they ensured everyone that Afghanistan will never allow its land to be used against any of the neighboring countries in Doha Accord, because Taliban did that accord with US, and that's why Trump
So explain this to me, Madhav, I think they have overestimated things so badly out here.
It had nothing to do with it.
They are not looking at their national interest. If they were a smart country, they would have seen, Madhav, that their ship has been denied passage by the Iranians.
And it's a fake news.
And one minute. Because you know why, Raja, don't shout. Because only, listen to me, because only non-hostile ships have permission, for safe passage. Iran says you are a hostile country. Do you think...
Are you getting this news from Iran International English? That had already been declared as a propaganda tool, and it has been declared by Iranian authorities.
Well, I am telling you that the Iranian authorities have refused to let Pakistan-bound ships pass.
There are thousands of fake news peddlers out there pretending to be...
Tell me, there is a Pakistani container ship. Can you tell me its name?
Karachi.
No, you have the news.
I'll tell you the name of the ship. It's called Selen. Selen had set sail from Sharjah anchorage, was bound towards Karachi. When it was denied passage, I would think the responsibility of your country's leaders is to make sure the ships reach Karachi, not to try to become a Chaudhary over the Strait of Hormuz, over whom you have no right. अपने ships तो जा नहीं रहे, दुनिया भर के लिए mediate करने जा रहे, औकात की बात आप मेरे से कर रहे हैं, आपका क्या औकात है?
And
you are not being able to let your own ships pass.
कहाँ पे लिखी हुई official news कहाँ है? ये आपके सामने पड़े पेपर के अलावा कहाँ है? अब आप जो भी बोलते रहे, do you think people are going to trust on you? Wow.
I'm saying that, listen, okay, I'll let Madhav Nalapat come to you, because आप ना parallel universe में अभी चल रहे हैं. आप parallel universe में चल रहे हैं. Madhav, you got to talk to these guys. They've lost all sense of reality.
Arnab, the fact of the matter is, the Iranians allow ships from countries that are not participating in the war to sail through the Strait of Hormuz, but they have to pay 2 million renminbi, that is Chinese yuan, each time a ship crosses. And India is not regarded as a hostile state, so Indian ships are crossing, although unfortunately the price of the product is raised because of that tax collected by the Iranian regime. On the other hand, Pakistan they regard as a combatant. They regard Pakistan as a hostile country. And for that reason, they deny passage to Pakistani ships while giving passage for India.
This kind of naiveness from the educated people
Pakistan
of
is a hostile country. Pakistan has used this territory so many times against so many countries.
Do they have any official release?
Shumela, I'll explain a thing to you, please. If you are a hostile country, you cannot mediate. Itni
You're
simple.
right. Just you are doing the propaganda.
Am I
Okay,
right?
good for you.
It's not.
Take the TRP for your channel. Thumbs up.
Shumela, you're being foolish now.
Keep continuing.
You're being highly unrealistic here.
We give up. We
No,
give
you're-
India a
you're
chance
living
to
in
do
a-
it.
Okay, anyway, you tell me when is Witkoff landing?
India in the place.
When is Witkoff
India
landing?
in the place.
When is Witkoff
India,
landing?
exactly.
ready to
India
do
की
it.
situation है.
When is it
आपके
Witkoff
जहाज
landing?
गुजर रहे हैं, बकौल आपके. As you're saying that
You
आपके जहाज
said
गुजर रहे हैं, आप
Witkoff is
communication-
landing today.
Peace करवानी है ना आपके reply.
Raja, what is your latest information now?
Iranians are not accepting him.
Oh.
Iranians are not accepting him as a negotiator.
So you
from the
told
West
Witkoff
side.
to come without checking with the Iranians?
Yes, there was a news yesterday that he is coming. Because he happens to be the special envoy. He happens to be the special envoy of the Middle East. And he was the only person who was supposed to be, at that point, supposed to be talking to Iran. But Iran doesn't want to
Anyway,
talk to them.
you're looking very
Iran has its own reasons.
very embarrassed today. But it's all right, Raja. It's not personal. You got it wrong. Tell the ISI
What
guy
do
who
you
told
mean
you
I'm
that
embarrassed?
he messed you up
It's like
yesterday.
I
He
was
messed you
pointing
up.
the fingers around
You got
and I
messed
was
up by the
telling
ISI yesterday,
do it
Raja. I
and
feel
they
bad for you. In the meantime, I think we're doing
Sad
very
that
fine.
You will going to be wrong.
Shumela,
I feel bad.
Shumela, take the example
Don't
from
worry.
large
No, we are
large
not
countries
taking
and
any
economies
example
like
from you.
India.
We will give you the example very soon.
Well, I mean,
Don't worry.
what?
Just have some patience. आप भी peace चाहते हैं कि नहीं चाहते पहले ये बताएं.
God. I feel so bad for you.
आप तक oil पहुंचे.
I feel so
आप
bad for
चाहते
you.
हैं
You have
peace
my
हो कि
sympathies.
ना हो.
Restored,
हमारी पूरी
you will
nation
be
Iran
getting
के साथ
the
है.
Okay. Moving on now. Witkoff's not coming. Shumela and Raja, forget it. Stop dreaming. In the meantime, I have a lot of information about what the situation in the country is regarding crude inventories, LPG supply, LPG production, commercial production, what the priority sectors are, why there is a focus on PNG, the action against hoarding, and the safety of Indian nationals. And the broad picture that I have today, when people ask me, how are we doing? I said, we are managing the situation quite well. Nobody is doing very well, but India is managing the situation much better than most nations. So what is upsetting the opposition? I'll try to find out what that is on my debate tonight.
A long line of vehicles queuing up outside petrol pumps. These are visuals from Hyderabad this morning. Congress government in Telangana admits there is panic. Approximately 200 LPG cylinders illegally stored in a godown in Bengaluru. A minister's name dropped by the officials who were raiding. Again, Karnataka is a Congress-ruled state.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೈದೆ ಹೇಳ್ರಿ ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದ ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡು ಅಂತಷ್ಟು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್
ಇಷ್ಟ ಮಾತಾಡೋದ್ರ
ಯಾರು
ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೇನಪ್ಪ ಎತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾರೆ
ಯಾರು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರು ಇವರು ಕೆ ಎಚ್ ಮುನಿಯಪ್ಪರ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಫೋನ್ನ ಅವರೇ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ ಅಂದ್ರ ಜೆಡಿಗೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರಂತವರು ಬಾ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರ್ ಹಂಗಾರೆ ಯಾರು ಕೊಳ್ಳೆ ಹೊಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಏನು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರ್ ಹೇಳಿದಂಗೆ ಇವ್ರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇವ್ರು ಹೋಗಲಿ
ಇಲ್ಲಿಗಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್
ಅದು ತಪ್ಪಲ್ವಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅದು ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ ತಪ್ಪಲ್ವಾ ಹಂಗಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ ಇರೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ತಪ್ಪು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅದು ಈ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಗಾಲ ಇದ್ದಂಗಿದೆ ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ಗಳಿಗೆ
Jagvasant and Pine Gas are the latest ships heading home and are set to arrive in the next 24 to 72 hours. Despite the centre's efforts in handling this crisis, the opposition protested in the national capital in front of the cameras. claiming cylinders are empty even as thousands and lakhs of metric tons of energy arrive on Indian shores each day.
Many members wanted to know the details of the gas and petroleum supply through the Strait of Hormuz, and they all were satisfied that India secured 4 ships already. So the opposition members were satisfied with the effort made by the government.
Government sources informed Republic that India's strategic oil reserve stands at 53 lakh tons and efforts are underway to ensure it reaches 65 lakh tons. Multiple ministries are addressing this crisis on a daily basis. The need of the hour is to fight the crisis as one, not gaslight the situation.
You know, I would say if you're not part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. Abbas Haider, Samajwadi Party leader Abdul Rahman was caught illegally stockpiling 55 LPG cylinders in his premises. Has Akhilesh thrown him out of the party?
Arnab, he was never part of the Samajwadi Party, and I believe that, this is a total fake news, and such fake news should not be propagated in any way. And
Abdul Rehan is not a member of the Samajwadi Party in Hapur, Uttar Pradesh?
No, he was not a leader or worker of Samajwadi Party, as far as we know.
No, what do you mean, as far as we know?
There were links with the Bharatiya Janata Party of this person who has been, and I believe the strictest action should be taken against any such person who is doing any illegal activity in any part of the country. And we will strongly support the government if any action is taken against a person who has taken law in his or her hand.
You don't appear very happy today, Piyush, that things are going very well, right?
Piyush,
let me go to Piyush next. See, all refineries operating at high capacity with adequate crude inventories. There are, Piyush, unlike what you people predicted, sufficient and more than sufficient stocks of petrol and diesel being maintained. There are no dryouts at any retail outlets, and I'm only starting with crude oil, petrol and diesel. This is not what you predicted 2 or 3 weeks back. How did you get it wrong? Or rather, what did the government get right?
Well, that's your presumption, Arnab, that we got it wrong. If there is no short supply of the LPG cylinders, why the waiting period has been increased to 25 days? Why I can book on, my subsequent cylinder only after a gap of 25 days since I've booked the first one? If there's no short supply, why there is rationing of petrol and diesel on the petrol pumps? Come to Indore, I invite you to the town where I live in, where there's triple engine ki sarkar, and I invite you to see the queues lining up behind the petrol pumps.
Piyush, 1 minute. You can't have it both ways. See, on the one side you are saying, 1 minute. Why doesn't the government plan for the medium and long term? On the other side, you are saying, why is the government planning for the medium and long term? If the government is saying we are planning for enhanced refinery output, we are extending LPG booking intervals, right? We are doing sectoral prioritization, and we are promoting alternative fuels, right? And if we have brought down the panic booking from a peak of 89 lakhs, which was on the 13th of March, to 50 or 55 lakhs on the 19th of March, possibly lesser now, you should be happy. But you're not. You're not, because you wanted the doomsday situation. I want Sanju to enter because it's a short debate. Sanju. Sanju countering both of you.
I heard both of them. Yeah, I heard both of them, and for a change, I think, we are having a sane debate. I appreciate, the Samajwadi Party spokesperson who at least had the candor to say that if there is somebody who's caught hoarding cylinders, then he or she should face the wrath of the law. Now, coming to the moot point, because, everybody suddenly seems to have become an oil and gas expert, foreign policy expert, failed Bollywood starlets like Richa Chadda, who don't know LPG from PNG and PNG from LNG, are giving out gyan to the Modi government on X, saying, "Aisa hona chahiye tha, waisa hona chahiye tha." Richa Chadda, a
Who
failed
is she?
starlet. She's a failed starlet.
Then why are you
don't need
referring to
know
a
more
failed
about her.
starlet?
I'm referring to a failed starlet because the Darbari ecosystem is salivating at her posts. So this is for Darbari ecosystem which has been applauding this failed starlet. So let me now come to the moot point. The moot point, Arnab, very quickly is this. Today, and I'm willing to be held accountable to every single number that I'm giving out because this is publicly documented and has been spoken of by senior Modi government ministers. Today, we have 250 MMTPA of refining capacity, 250 million barrels of crude reserves, 53 lakh metric tons of strategic petroleum reserves. Today, the number of, CNG areas under the city grid network have risen from 68 to 789. From 800 CNG stations under Congress, today we have close to 9,000 CNG stations. From less than 200 kilometers, today we have close to 1,100 kilometers metro network. And what Prime Minister Modi said, that thanks to ethanol blending of almost 20%, which was just 1% under the Congress, thanks to ethanol blending, we are
He's saying in that case, what Piyush is saying, Piyush's counter is, one minute, Piyush's counter is, if that is, because I want to keep it moving fast, Piyush's counter is, if things are good, why is there rationing? Piyush, you want to briefly intervene and tell her that? No, let him make the point to you and then you respond back to him. Piyush is making the point a second time to you, I'm allowing it. Thank you, Piyush.
Just give me a minute. Why the jobs are being lost? What is happening in Morbi? Jobs are being lost by the thousands and lakhs. What is happening and why that is happening if you have adequate stockpiles? And who did the gaslighting? Who switched the panic button? Who pushed the panic button? It was the Prime Minister himself when he addressed the Parliament. He compared this particular crisis of LPG to the worst humanitarian crisis ever faced by this country, that is COVID. What was the need to compare this particular crisis?
Okay, one minute. May I for a moment ask that question? Wait a minute, Piyush, I got the point. Piyush, be brief. I got the point. The question being here, and give me a second. Don't be impatient with each other. Let me encapsulate the point in a few words here. The point being here, you are asking why are workers going? Why is Morbi? Can I remind everyone tonight before Sanju jumps back in that you remember COVID and you remember at that point of time there were people making videos. There were people making videos and making it look like the whole country had panicked, and that panic is not there. I've been told that very often migrant workers use 5 kilo LPG cylinders. They buy it from the market. They don't buy the larger cylinders, right? Because they don't have a fixed residential address. A specific question will be asked, therefore, to Sanju. That Sanju, what is the BJP doing? BJP-run government. What is the government doing for the interests of migrant workers who may not have a gas connection with a fixed residential address because of the nature of their occupation? They are migrants.
Arnab, I need to complete. You keep asking such lengthy questions, but you don't have the patience to listen to a logical response from my end. I will answer your question. I'm not running away anywhere. I first want to stress on two very important things, which Prime Minister Modi said. He said, yes, there is a crisis, but just like 1.4 billion Indians came together in 2020, let's again stand shoulder to shoulder. A great statesman is somebody who does not shove the uncomfortable truth under the carpet. Prime Minister Modi has taken the bull by the horns, and don't forget, let anybody in the opposition not forget, especially Rahul Gandhi, that 198 crore COVID vaccine dosages were administered in flat 18 months.
Don't start me on COVID. You don't know about that. You don't know about that disease. You don't know about the mismanagement that happened during COVID. So don't get me started.
I think if I were to 1 minute, Piyush, don't intervene here. She was making her point. I'll give her 30 more seconds to complete, please, because she's 1 versus 2.
Arnab, whether it is a migrant worker or an Ujjwala Yojana beneficiary or a normal, middle class commoner who's using LPG. The Modi government is very clear. Delivery cycle is 2.5 days. The gap between ordering 2 LPG cylinders is 25 days in urban areas, and in rural areas, it is a little more than a month, but this has been the case for quite a while. And let me tell you, Arnab, you should also show this because yours is a widely watched show. There is a narrative that fuel prices have been increased by stealth. Australia has seen fuel inflation going up by 32% in 1 month. US has seen fuel inflation going up by 24% in 1 month. Germany has seen fuel inflation going up by 18% in 1 month. China has seen fuel inflation going up by 12.6% in 1 month. And Arnab, do you know something? Our fuel inflation, as I speak now, in the last 4 weeks, is 0.14%. By and large, Modi government has ensured that fuel prices are scaled.
Why you did not reduce the fuel price, Sanju?
I think we need to Piyush now. Piyush, 1 minute. Can I change the speech? Piyush for a moment. What we seem to have forgotten here is that, as the head of the International Energy Agency, IEA, has said, this ongoing crisis is the biggest threat to global energy security in the history of the world, warning that more oil has been simultaneously taken off the market than during 1973 and 1979 combined. And yet people like you believe, Abbas, that we should not be affected at all. I mean,
Well,
this is
Arnab,
you're being thoroughly opportunistic when you do so. Please understand, it goes beyond. Now I'll say something. This goes beyond price hikes, shortages, and rationing. The implications go beyond immediate shortages. Even if the Strait of Hormuz is to open up immediately, which it won't, even if the Strait of Hormuz opens up immediately, reports warn that restoring normal energy flows will take weeks or months, while repairing damaged infrastructure might take years. I expect any responsible political party to be with the country at this stage, not against the country's interests. You're going against the country's interests. You're being opportunistic, Abbas.
One thing, Arnab, we have always believed that the national interest is much above party politics. And Sanjuji, 1 minute. And we'll support every constructive step of the government. But that does not mean that we will not demand accountability from the government. The question here is, in the all-party meeting, it was informed that the energy production, the LPG production for that matter, is increased from 28% to 60%. That is a very good step. I would welcome that. But at the same time, the question comes that why was our long-term energy security ignored? Why this step was not taken earlier? However, the crisis was, everybody could predict that. It was coming, all of us knew about it. No, please don't interrupt me.
35 gigawatts when Prime Minister Modi took charge.
You have increased energy production, so why were you waiting for? Were you waiting for a global conflict to come up to wake you up? The global conflict has waked you up. That is the question. See, if you
please don't, again, 1 minute. If you were in South Korea, Abbas, be intelligent out here. Abbas, be intelligent and not opportunistic. In South Korea, Sanju May, in South Korea, authorities have asked households to limit water usage and to operate washing machine only on weekends. I can tell you one thing. In South Korea, however, if this was to happen in India, if this was to happen in India, you know, the opposition would be on the streets. The opposition would be on the streets. In South Korea, their opposition is not like ours. They are not being opportunistic like you're being right now.
Better preparedness and prevent future.
Is the opposition in South Korea telling their country to have been better prepared for Khomeini's killing? Did you anticipate it? Did you have insider knowledge?
That we will welcome, we will support any constructive step by the government, but that does not mean that we will not ask for accountability from the government. That is our duty. The government is not being accountable to the people when they could have increased our energy production. Why were they waiting for? Why were they waiting to ration, energy to common people? Why
ladies and gentlemen, the problem I have here, I just, Abbas, Sanju louder.
Some illiterate like Akhilesh Yadav or Rahul Gandhi who's at the helm of affairs. Thank God we don't have, somebody with lack of conviction at the helm of affairs. This is not Manmohan Singh who said after hiking prices by 8 rupees a litre in 2012. अरे पैसे पेड़ पर थोड़ी उगते हैं. मनमोहन सिंह had the audacity to say, अरे पैसे पेड़ पर थोड़ी उगते हैं. Has Narendra Modi told you पैसे पेड़ पर थोड़ी उगते हैं? Because Modi is not like Manmohan Singh. Manmohan Singh lacked courage, lacked conviction, lacked clarity of thought, lacked vision, and did not have the ability to execute grand projects. Today we are one of the few countries whose oil tankers are crossing the Strait of Hormuz from just the sun, buying gas, Pushpak, Parimal, Jug Larki, Shivalik,
what is the total? Okay, what is the total LPG?
Okay, one at a time, please. Abbas.
That accounts to 3 days of our LPG requirement. All of the cumulative, import which has come through Strait of Hormuz in past 25 days.
Please stop believing the likes of Richa Chadda. Please stop believing deadwood like Rahul Gandhi. Please stop believing
What is this? Piyush on the right.
Which is your alliance
If you
partner.
versus to Piyush on the right.
Stop believing
If you have any sensible answer, just come with
who
that.
don't LPG
No,
from
Piyush, can I just step in for a moment, please? Please, 1 minute, please. See, I think that Japan, I'll just give an example of a few countries. Japan has been releasing oil from its national reserves this week, right? Philippines has declared a national energy emergency, has a reduced 4-day working week to save electricity. Thailand has told state agencies to work from home to begin curbing demand for fuel, right? Bangladesh, which relies on imports for 95% of energy needs, has imposed fuel caps and even turned off light displays for Eid celebrations. And if you're closer home, Nepal has begun rationing cooking gas. Sri Lanka has declared Wednesdays as public holidays. I want to know, in no country, Piyush, no country, none of these countries, the opposition is behaving
Why?
like you are behaving because
Why? Let me explain
because
why.
they don't blame their governments for killing Khomeini.
No. Just
You blame
let
our
me
government
tell
for
you
killing
why we are
Khomeini.
behaving the way we are.
I mean,
Arnab,
you're being very, very selfish here. People
I
don't
got your
forget this.
question. Let me just respond.
Ask
why we are
Kejriwal to
behaving
issue
the
a
way we are.
statement supporting the government.
Because in all these countries, the
Kejriwal do
government
during
is not.
COVID?
Sanju, please, I did not interrupt you. Sanju, have some patience to listen to me. Just don't babble on continuously. Either you allow her to speak or you allow me to speak. I can't do something like this when nobody is audible.
Today we have 74
Sanju, come on, hold on for a second, yeah.
oil reserves, and you are saying oil reserves to say 9 दिन का है.
अरे मैडम,
We
चुप
have
हो जाओ यार.
268
Okay, viewers.
MMTPA of refining capacity.
Madam, allow me to
Viewers,
come
Today
here.
we have
In those countries, the government does not mislead the people
Well,
of the country.
in most countries, the opposition does not behave like this at a time when there's a global crisis. You don't blame the BJP for it. This is beyond all understanding, ladies and gentlemen. I still request all of you to stay united and come together. I'll go into a break, and when I come back, looking at the present situation tonight, Marines have reached the Gulf. The Bushehr nuclear plant area has been hit. I ask once again, where is the ceasefire?
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र.
जब अपना कोई मूव किसी को मूव करता है ना यार, फील आ जाती है.
भाई तू अपना है, तेरा सफर मुझे भी करना है. तूने प्रूव कर दिखाया यार, anybody can dream.
मुझे लगा मैं नहीं, पूरा का पूरा मूवमेंट चल रहा है. Breathable fabrics, awesome comfort, effortless style, AD from the house of Arvind.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार.
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला.
अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी प्रोवुड का प्रीमियम प्लस है ना. लो एमिशन है, हाई डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी, टर्माइट एंड बोरो रेजिस्टेंट भी है. यानी ये है जहां नो टेंशन वहां।
Premium Plus by Century ProWood.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
जब अपना कोई मूव किसी को मूव करता है ना यार, फील आ जाती है।
भाई तू अपना है, तेरा सफर मुझे भी करना है। तूने प्रूव कर दिखाया यार, एनीबडी कैन ड्रीम।
मुझे लगा मैं नहीं, पूरा का पूरा मूवमेंट चल रहा है। Breathable fabrics, awesome comfort, effortless style, AD from the house of Arvind.
अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी प्रोवुड का प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, लो एमिशन है, हाई डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी, टर्माइट एंड बोरो रेजिस्टेंट भी है, यानी ये है जहां नो टेंशन वहां।
Premium Plus by Century ProWood.
Our Pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी प्रोवुड का प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, लो एमिशन है, हाई डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी, टर्माइट एंड बोरो रेजिस्टेंट भी है, यानी ये है जहां नो टेंशन वहां।
Premium Plus by Century ProWood.
हमें धीरज के साथ, संयम के साथ, शांत मन से हर चुनौती का मुकाबला करना है। इसलिए मैं देशवासियों से भी कहूंगा कि हमें
War escalation or ceasefire? Marines land, nuke plant hit. Debating tonight at 9 p.m.
Presented by Amity University, ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally. Powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, growing legacies since 1820. Century Premium Plus. Jaguar Bath and Light. Co-powered by UTI Mutual Fund, हक एक बेहतर जिंदगी का। TVS N-Torq 150, India's first 150cc hyper sport scooter. मुथूट फाइनेंस गोल्ड लोन, सोना क्या नहीं कर सकता।
America loves a war. Trump, I believe, makes money from the wars by changing the line, having the inside information. There is some insider trading going on. They are making hundreds of billions of dollars a moment.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate. Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
Absolutely sure sign that Trump has got it all wrong is when he starts blaming his own defense secretary, the wet-gelled Pete Hegseth. Ladies and gentlemen, at a round table in Memphis, which was going on, Trump sat next to his own defense secretary, his own appointee, Pete Hegseth, and in front of cameras and reporters said something which absolutely looked like he was putting all the blame, the entire blame, on Pete Hegseth. He said, Pete, you were the one. It was your idea. You said, let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders take the onus on themselves. And here's a man who's realized he's messed up so badly, he's got no exit option. The Iranians are not giving him an off-ramp. He's riding a tiger he can't get off, so he's decided to tell the tiger to go attack Pete Hegseth. This is a cowardly move by the President of the United States. This is what he said. Run the clip, please.
I called Pete, I called General Kane, I called a lot of our great people. We have great people, and I said, let's talk. We got a problem in the Middle East. We have a country known as Iran that for 47 years has been just a purveyor of terror, and they're very close to having a nuclear weapon. We can keep going and get that 50,000 up to 55 and 60 is no end, or we can take a stop and make a little journey into the Middle East and eliminate a big problem. And Pete, I think you were the first one to speak up, and you said, let's do it, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon.
That's as clear as Pete, you were the one. It was your idea, he says. Now, ladies and gentlemen, depending on who is in the administration of the Trump government, who you asked on any single day, they say this was a war to end 47 years of the Iranian regime. But now, is there a solution? My view is, as of this minute, there is an unbridgeable gap between the United States and Iran. All these diplomats, these diplomatic types who talk about an off-ramp, back channel, etc., this, that, have got it all wrong. Look at the actual terms on the table and ask yourself whether there is any middle ground here. One, the US has apparently sent a 15-point proposal. Conditions include dismantling of UN's nuclear capabilities, a ban on uranium enrichment on Iranian territory, handing over the stockpile of highly enriched uranium to the IAEA, abandoning all regional proxy activity, opening up the Strait of Hormuz, and limiting Iran's missile capability, both in terms of range and quantity. Iran is not going to accept any one of these, not one of these 6 or 7 options or proposals which the US has given. What does Iran want? Iran has put 7 demands, and none of these will be accepted by the US. Iran has asked US to close all military bases in the Gulf, lift all sanctions imposed, pay war reparations, which is absolutely not going to happen, say that we are going to agree to a missile program of Iran with no limits, end all Israeli strikes on the Hezbollah, start new rules for the Strait of Hormuz, giving them superpower status in the Middle East, and give a written promise that war will not restart. Now, there is no negotiating room between the two. The only hope people are having is that both sides are actually very tired, and out of fatigue, if nothing else, they're going to give in. But ladies and gentlemen, for that also, there needed to have been a pause. I want to show you 8 visuals tonight, 8 visuals to prove there has been no pause. There has never been a pause in this. Visual number 1, March 25th, Dimona nuclear power plant, which was hit. Ladies and gentlemen, the visuals show, you see this, smoke rising over the Rotem industrial zone close to Dimona after an Iranian missile hit. March 25th, the IDF said airstrikes in Tehran have been completed. These are the visuals of that. Ladies and gentlemen, multiple infrastructure targets which were hit. March 25th, Iran fires coastal cruise missiles targeting the Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier. Not too long back, they're keeping a watch. Where is the pause as I show you these visuals? Visual 4 tonight, airstrike on Western Iraq military clinic, which killed 7 troops. This is in a site belonging to Iraq's Shiite Popular Mobilization Forces, or PMF. Where is the ceasefire, I asked tonight on Republic? March 25th, Iran released a video of the 80th wave of Operation True Promise 4. Where is the pause? We ask here on Republic. Visual number 6, March 25th, Israeli Air Force targeting 2 sites involved in the production of the naval cruise missiles in Tehran. Visual number 7, where is the ceasefire tonight? Where is the pause? March 24th, Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant hit by Israel. Visual showing dark plumes of smoke rising after the strike. And finally, yes, I have visual 8 as well. Iran launching missiles towards Israel. This is Iranian state TV releasing the footage. Ladies and gentlemen, where is the pause? You have to have blindfold on and not watch any of these visuals to start believing that there is a pause. It's only sections of the Western media which has lost all credibility in the last few days which still insist there is something called a pause. Now, here is the part of the story that nobody in Washington wants you to see. Ladies and gentlemen, on January 29, 2026, exactly 1 month before the war began, Lockheed Martin signed a framework agreement with Pentagon's Department of War to quadruple the production of THAAD interceptors. From 96 missiles a year to 400 missiles a year, each THAAD interceptor cost the American taxpayer $12.7 million. Ladies and gentlemen, this was on January 29th. The war technically began on February 28th. Everything is about making money on the stock markets. It's about the stock prices of these defense companies. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know what's happening in the war, ask Lockheed Martin, not Pete Exit. Lockheed Martin's, since the beginning of 2026, their share price has gone up by 30-40%. Ladies and gentlemen, numbers don't lie. I'm giving you 5 points tonight. This is war capitalism at another level. 5 points. 1, Pentagon wants $300 billion more for the Iran war. Point number 2, US defense stocks are up 30 to 50% in the last 12 months. Point number 3, earnings in the S&P 500 index are expected to rise 20% in the next 12 months. 4, US oil firms have gained more than 100 billion since the war began. And 580 million bet has been placed just 14 to 15 minutes before Trump's Iran post on Truth Social. Ladies and gentlemen, and therefore you need to look at everything in perspective. If this war continues, the defense war machine in America makes a lot of money. So, it doesn't look to me like there's any de-escalation or ceasefire plan right now, because America continues to beef up its military presence. In fact, the 82nd Airborne Division's 2,000 paratroopers are moving around in the Middle East. Additional military options are being sent by Trump. Trump also deployed another 2,000 Marines from the 31st Expeditionary Unit traveling aboard USS Tripoli. What kind of ceasefire plan is this that requires this level of military mobilization? Secondly, Israel is not part of any dialogue. They have not committed to any dialogue. It's only a pause button, apparently on a certain nature of oil infrastructure sites by Americans. Israel is not part of it. So if the peace plan is just a red herring to buy time, then what about the deployments which are taking place? You see, ladies and gentlemen, here is the hint. Trump has spared targeting the Karg Island, from where Iran exports 90% of this oil. Is this military buildup aimed at trying to take Karg Island after Friday? I think this weekend is going to be extremely, extremely, extremely important. And that's why the Speaker of the Parliament in Iran has said very clearly, we are closely monitoring all US movements in the region, especially troop deployments, to not test our resolve to defend our land. Even Iran, therefore, as of tonight, is strongly suspecting a possible military ground intervention by America, maybe for Karg Island. Is that the military surprise that Trump was planning? And in response to that, what is the quote-unquote surprise that Iran has in mind? For everybody who did the calculations and told you on Monday that everything's getting fixed, it's all over. It's not. Even if it is to get fixed, which I think there is a strong likelihood of within a April 10th timeline, and that is my own calculated guess, trust me, it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Let's debate.
Ceasefire or just a claim? Donald Trump says he's winding down the conflict in West Asia.
You're talking about to end it? Well, I think we're going to end it. I can't tell you for sure. I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it.
But the picture is different on the ground. US is increasing their deployment. 2 giant warships, 5,000 Marines, and an additional 2,000 soldiers on the ground. Along with this military build-up, the sound of explosions has not stopped. On 25th of March, Iran fired their cruise missiles targeting the USS Abraham Lincoln, forcing the US aircraft carrier to change position. On the same day, Israel carried out multiple waves of airstrikes in Tehran targeting military infrastructure. Israel also struck 2 naval cruise missile production sites in Tehran, crucial for Iran's long-range strike capabilities. A day earlier, on 24th of March, Israel targeted Iran's underwater research center in Isfahan. On the same day, Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant was hit, with the IAEA confirming the strike. Iran has responded with a fresh missile barrage, its 80th wave of operation, with strikes reported in Tel Aviv and Haifa. Iran says there are no talks underway, neither direct or indirect. Tehran takes a dig at US, saying they're negotiating amongst themselves.
سطح خود درگیری هایتان به مرحله مذاکره خودتان با خودتان رسیده؟ سطح خود درگیری هایتان به مرحله مذاکره خودتان با خودتان رسیده؟
With missiles flying, warships moving and troops deploying, the question remains, where is the ceasefire?
Did the ceasefire, did this pause fail? Did this pause fail? Did the pause ever happen? Was there ever a pause? These are my 3 questions tonight. I welcome from New Delhi Major General G.D. Bakshi, for the Iran View senior journalist Yusuf Jalali, strategic affairs expert Peter Topichanov from Moscow. Troy Blackwell is a former advisor to Biden, Democrat from New York. Saurabh Shukla from News Mobile from Washington. Sierra Claire, foreign policy expert from Los Angeles. Dean Baxendale, he's the author and publisher of the Sunday Guardian, is a columnist from Toronto. And Ryan Amiri, founding leader of the Conservative Party of Iran, in exile, live from Istanbul. Ryan, what is your view of this pause? Was there ever a pause? Who is not working to let a pause happen in the last 3 days?
Look, the Islamist regime, of course, it is that the answer is the Islamist regime. The pause, the actual pause, is going to happen only when the regime is gone. That is the only actual ceasefire that you would want. Because as long as this regime is in charge, we're going to have war and chaos and misery for the citizens in the Middle East. That is the answer. That is the actual answer that you want. The actual pause is the end of the regime, and the end of regime didn't come yet, so there's no pause yet.
No, but the pause offer, Ryan, I'll go to Yusuf Jalali, was from America. Has America honored the pause? Yusuf?
Well, of course, we've not seen any pause. It's just the word. And we heard a very serious comment coming from Iranian armed forces spokesperson who said that Trump is disguising his claims of victory in words, which means that Trump is claiming victory by saying that, or by changing the definition of regime change. They're saying basically that Donald Trump has been changing this definition of regime change because he has not achieved this goal. Iran says that, and Iran continues to strike back. Iran continues to target Haifa and Tel Aviv. And just a few hours ago, the Iranian armed forces announced that they have been able to target Dimona and Haifa again. And they said that this is a direct response to Donald Trump's 48-hour and 5-day ultimatum he issued for Iran to try to force them into coming back to the negotiating table. So in the eyes of Iran, this is not a pause, actually. This is even more escalation, because Iran is not going to give in to any kind of negotiation that is not going to respect its sovereignty and, of course, its right to, for example, enrich uranium, and its right to develop ballistic missiles with ranges more than 500 kilometers. So Iran is not going to accept any kind of deal that would see it limit the range of its ballistic missiles, because for Iran, this is a red line, and Iran has relied on its ballistic missiles to win this fight. So if they just sort of clip the wings of its missiles and let them fly no longer than 500 kilometers, then it means that they pose no threat to the Israelis, and they cannot reach even further than Iraq. So to Iran, if these conditions are not met, then coming back to the negotiating table is an illusion for now.
So is the second phase, I want to go across to Moscow, to Peter. Peter, in the second phase, and Peter is head of the section for new challenges in South and Southeast Asia at the Institute of World Economy and International Relations in Moscow. Peter, is this next phase, after whatever this pause is, if you call it a pause at all, is this next phase going to be more dangerous? Because now you have a lot of US Marines and ships and ground forces sort of preparing for something, maybe for Karg, maybe for a ground invasion. Maybe if this doesn't work out by Friday, the pause period will be technically over, right? And Iran says, we're waiting for the Marines. Please come in, you're welcome. We're prepared for you. What could happen then? What situation do you foresee?
First of all, I want to say that in the US now we have a lot of innovative versions to explain what is going on. Even a pause term, it's not a military term, it's something just personal interpretation by the White House, what was on Monday. As for the next phase, I would say that 5,000 Marines is not a huge number and it's not totally a number needed for ground invasion. Just compare, with unfortunate experience that Russia and Ukraine had in 2022 to prepare the initial phase of the military campaign. Russia had to move much bigger number of the troops supported by air and other parts of the armed forces of Russia. So here we have a naval component, we have missile and air component by the US and Israel, but definitely we lack a land component to perform any kind of ground invasion. Also, what was very clear in recent days, that the United States and Israel are left alone without support from other NATO member states by European countries, and even in the Gulf, the nations are not very supportive for making this campaign broader and more offensive against Iran.
So then now let's look ahead to, Dean, let's look ahead to Saturday and Sunday, right? The pause is over, the pause has failed. There was no pause. All I see here, the only thing also, another no pause, if you look at the share prices of the defense stocks, have you seen them, Saurabh? Have you seen them all-time high, 30-40% up on a 3-month average, right? You want to see these stocks. I've lined up all the these companies who have probably decided the way. Have you seen the Lockheed and Martin stock? I don't know if you've seen, Troy, have you seen the Lockheed Martin stock? It's just gone crazy. It's gone wild. Lockheed.
Well, that happens.
No, that doesn't happen.
I want to talk
No. How did they get one?
Both the sides. I want to tell you the significance of the weekend. There are two things which are happening. One, President Trump had 2 important engagements. Those have been cancelled for the weekend. I'm getting to hear from my White House sources. Second,
like what important engagements, like playing golf?
There's a White House briefing which is scheduled just at 1 p.m. today, which wasn't the case earlier. And what's happening is that the proposal that's come to the fore are the maximalist positions. Both sides have put proposal like in any negotiation. The proposal is maximalist. Obviously, the idea is to put the maximum pressure on the other side. I'm an eternal optimist. I still feel that you will see some kind of a solution coming out of this. Obviously, it's a complicated situation. Iran obviously is also bargaining hard, but I can tell you that the back channels are still very active. And as I said yesterday on your show as well, I'm still optimistic that in next 10 days, that's a deadline I have coming from my sources, you will see some kind of a solution coming out.
I don't know. Troy, I just got a tweet here. So you're very optimistic. Can I get Troy in? Troy Blackwell. Troy, now Trump is saying that people like you, who are not supporters of his politically, that you are trying to stir up internal chaos in the United States to downplay his achievements in Iran. He has just issued a statement that the radical left... Can I play that soundbite? You want to hear it? Troy, let me play it with Troy on air, everyone on air. Yeah, please play it, yeah. Play it. Again, no audio. Where is it?
A lot of big hits today, a lot of big wins today, as you probably have heard militarily.
Niranjan, we didn't have the soundbite out there. Can we just come back?
Blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict. And I think it'll end it very, very substantially. We have very much in mind our partners in the Middle East. We've had great relationships with a lot of them, as you know. A lot of them were surprisingly hit, and I was surprised to see it, and so was everyone else. But we have...
Okay. So, Troy, is he sounding like a person with a plan?
No, he's not sounding like a person with a plan. What we are being asked to do is to not believe our own eyes. And so I'm going back to the president's remarks about chaos. Chaos is saying that there's a ceasefire, but sending 2,000 paratroopers to the Middle East over the weekend. Chaos is having Americans pay $1 more in gas because we are pretty much kneecapping energy for 20% of the world. Chaos is us in a war with no exit strategy and explanation of why we are there. That is what is happening with this president. So to answer your question about chaos and where the president stands, there is no ceasefire. There never was a ceasefire. This all comes down to money, as you mentioned about the stock. What the president is doing is that one day he's saying, okay, we are going hard. We're showing strength in Iran, and the stocks are going down. Then the next day he says, oh, things are great. We're in the middle of a conversation. We're having talks. Stocks are going up. So if you ever want to understand President Trump's playbook, it all goes back to money. It goes back to the stock market, and he's showing us that.
So is this something about betting going on here? Sierra, you know, there are also these reports, Sierra and Dean Baxendale, that this is about betting, that Donald Trump's son has invested in a company called Polymarket through a venture capital firm and is now a strategic advisor for Kalshi. And Kalshi and Polymarket are in a legal battle because some states want to ban these prediction markets and betting platforms. The biggest of the lawsuits, by the way, Sierra, comes from Nevada, where the Nevada Gaming Control Board sued and issued enforcement actions against Kalshi and Polymarket, right? There is a restraining order against this company in which Donald Trump Jr. has invested. And, you know, Trump and his administration are backing this company, Kalshi and Polymarket, in a legal battle. So the point I'm trying to make is that there are some things called prediction markets in the US where you can make a lot of money, right? But if the president and the president's own son, Sierra, if the president and the president's own son are invested in these games, right? You know what these companies do, Sierra. They allow participants to buy and sell contracts tied to possible outcome of an event. You can wager on anything, whether who will win the NBA championship to whether who will win between Iran and the United States of America. And there's big volume money that is going on here. So is this become a betting game? I'm just wondering, or is this a conspiracy theory here? Because a lot of people are talking about it, Sierra.
Well, as you said, these markets do exist in the United States, but betting on on military action, has been going on before this whole Iran thing. So if the Trumps wanted to, somehow try to make money off of that using insider information, I mean, they could have been doing that already. So I don't think that this Iran thing is a money-making thing for Trump or for his son. Now, one thing to get clear is that the ceasefire was, President Trump never said we were going to be pausing military action in Iran. He said we're going to be holding off on their electrical grid and other infrastructure because he found somebody that he wanted to negotiate with. And I do believe that President Trump always wants to negotiate if he believes it's possible and, worthwhile. And so that's why you're seeing, everybody's kind of surprised. Oh, President Trump wants to back out. No, he's not backing out or backing down. Always his goal, whether it's through military action, whether it's through economic action like tariffs, his goal is to negotiate. So if he's found that is a worthwhile endeavor at this point, that's why we're seeing him pursue that.
No, if that was a goal, then why, Dean, I'm not seeing the signals here, because on March 24th, the Bushehr nuclear power plant was struck by missiles. The IAEA has confirmed that attack today. So if that is the goal, then why are these attacks happening?
Well, I have to look
Dean
at
to take
the attack and who did the attack. If there's Israel and the U.S. are both involved here. So, but I think President Trump's goal is to preserve the infrastructure of Iran as much as possible. If they were using it as a military base, then obviously that became a military target.
What if Iran were to say, Dean, that these 5,000 Marines moving towards Iran are a legitimate military target and they strike them? Dean.
Well, the 5,000 Marines that are coming to Iran were already scheduled to come long before these negotiations started. And we're continuing to send them, just as Trump did with the naval armada. When he said, I'm in talks with Iran and I'm sending the naval armada. It's the same thing now. I'm in talks with Iran and I'm sending the Marines. It's to keep the Iranians on track because
okay, so Sierra, I want, General Bakshi, are you there? General Bakshi, can I have your attention? These 5,000 odd Marines, can they become a legitimate military target even if not actively deployed? Can they become a legitimate military target for Iran?
Of course they are. If you are coming...
Not even if they are not on the ground.
The Kharg Island, if they are coming with the intent of capturing the Kharg Island, trying to neutralize shore batteries on the northern shore of the Gulf, possibly in concert with the special forces, try and grab the 450 kilograms of enriched uranium, they are a legitimate target. And I am surprised that they haven't aimed some at cruise missiles or their anti-ship missiles, their Charlie 302s at the Tripoli, which is already in along with a cruiser and 2 destroyers. Boxer is coming in with a which can land the hovercraft with tanks, etc. They are very legitimate targets, and I would not be too dependent on the promises of Donald Trump that he's engaging them in talks, so therefore let them be. Because he asked for 5 days, because 5 days is what it would take for the amphibious assault ship Boxer to come in from the United States with about 2,500 Marines to get the total strength of Marines to 5,000. And there are 3,000 a brigade worth from the 82nd Airborne Division. So, these are all preparations for an attack. And like I said, whenever Donald Trump talks, he is just gaining time to stab the other guy in the back. He murdered the Ayatollah and 48 commanders. He had them murdered with the help of Israel under the pretext of talks. So the Iranians have been taken for a royal ride twice. Are they going to do it again? Arnab,
General Bakshi, 1 minute. General Bakshi, 1 minute. One minute. Let me get Dean. Is it dangerous to send the Marines there right now in a situation where there hasn't even been any progress in any backroom negotiations? It's a very hot and hostile situation. It's bad as it is, isn't it, Troy? It's bad as it is. The Strait of Hormuz is choked up. Tensions are very high. The strikes are continuing. There is no pause. Energy shock is worsening by the day. Why worsen things? Why can't we have a period of, Dean, would you think it would have been wiser for Trump to just let things plateau for a bit?
So, first of all, Arnab, thank you for having me again. This is a great debate. I think ultimately the U.S. continues its military action to continue to decimate the Iranian capability, to wreak havoc in the Hormuz Strait. As I pointed out, though, in my column in the Sunday Guardian, success here is only going to be when the regime is decapitated. But ultimately, that must only happen through the Iranian people. And the fact that there are people
which Iranian people
rising up that are willing to take this on,
which Iranian people, Dean?
A statement for democracy. This is about democracy, long-lasting peace in the Middle East, and I think that can only happen through organizations like the NCRI or other groups aligned with democracy for Iran. So the Hormuz Strait, yes, it's a problem right now, but oil has dropped again today. I think we're seeing more stability. The fact that this is a proxy war, in fact, where Russia and China have been backing Iran should be made aware to all of your audience and understand that the geopolitical ramifications here are significant. Peace will only, though, come through the central role of somebody like not through the IRGC, but organized resistant forces like the MEK, NLA, and the NCRI out of Iran and in exile. So I think things will stabilize over the next week, and we're seeing that in the markets today.
No, but leave the markets aside. Some time back he was asked, Ryan Amiri, I'm coming back to you again. General Bakshi, are you there? General Bakshi, let me go back to Ryan. Ryan, who is Trump talking to is a question he was asked, I think at that same briefing. He says, I'm talking to a top person. A top person. Then he said, I can't name him, but we are dealing with the man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. Who is this person? Who is this person who Witkoff is talking to? Is there any such person?
Yeah, there is. Witkoff actually previously talked with His Majesty Reza Shah Pahlavi II, which you interviewed last year with him. And I think he is the most respected person because on January 8th, you said which people? The people of Iran who took to the streets on January 8th and January 9th after a call to protest by Reza Shah Pahlavi II. In millions, en masse, they took to the streets. Look at the videos, viral videos. Millions of people took to the streets against the regime, chanted against the regime, and they chanted Javid Shah. So why the mainstream media are denying this, just obvious fact and not covering that is beyond imagination.
No, General Bakshi,
the will of the Iranian people.
Ryan, can I ask you one question genuinely?
1 second.
1 minute. General Bakshi, now I have a clean feed with you. Are you telling me that Steve Witkoff is negotiating with a man sitting in New York who has lived most of his life in America? And this is what the negotiation is about? You're not serious, Ryan. You're not serious about it.
Yes, because he talked with Witkoff. He said it on tape. He said it. He talked at the order of President Trump. He talked with Reza Shah Pahlavi II.
But Reza Shah Pahlavi doesn't need talking. He's a CIA asset.
No, he's not CIA asset. That is your assessment. This is beyond imagination.
I can't believe it now. I'm a General Bakshi.
Lunatic to say such a thing.
Okay, General Bakshi. General Bakshi.
Arnab, this is. Please, Rand, give us a break. This is Alice in Wonderland or the Mad Hatter's Party. I haven't heard something funnier. Look,
look,
but this
if
is
he
far
was,
more
if he
serious.
was CIA
Arnab,
asset,
we
One
are
minute.
at,
Ryan, one minute. General
excuse
Bakshi
me.
he's hitting my one.
We heard you, boy. We heard you, old man. We now give us a chance.
Be respectful, man.
All right.
Be respectful.
Arnab, what I want to
he doesn't mean it that
clearly
way.
is
Speak.
we are
Respect
at
is
a
language
critical.
that crazy lunatics like you.
Sir, can
do
I
not speak.
please? Please,
These are all,
I never
Ryan, these are
interrupted
different
you.
perspectives. These are tough
the
times.
interest of a
Nothing's
decent
personal
debate,
here, all
can I
right?
have my
Let's
say?
continue the debate, please. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, okay. Let's everyone calm down here. Yeah, okay. General Bakshi.
Arnab,
who is Trump talking to?
We are at a critical decision point in this war.
You are.
Right?
We are.
Donald Trump has pushed up the Tripoli amphibious assault group 31 MEU from Al-Kahama in Japan, which has reached. The second group, Boxer, which has hovercrafts, for landings, is about to reach. Donald Trump, the voyage was to last 5 days. Donald Trump gave a 5 days ceasefire so that this group could reach. And then he made the pretense of talk for the third time after having stabbed Iran in the back twice on the pretext of talks, murdered the Ayatollah and his family, right? Murdered 168 girls, etc. Now he again wants to repeat the same.
Ryan Amiri countering General Bakshi.
He expects Iran to, so therefore, he is at the cusp of a critical decision whether to put boots on the ground. Soldiers like me are supposed to talk straight and tell their political masters the exact military implications. If they
More
do
windows,
not,
1 versus
it means
4.
body bags, it means widows, it means orphans. Please listen to me. It means orphans. But, when the Pentagon briefed Donald Trump on this boots on the ground, imbroglio, they told him it is a high-risk, high-payoff mission. Donald forgot all about the high risk. He's gambling on the high payoff. And, this thing was war-gamed, taking the Karg Island in 1988, twice by the United States military. Both times they had lost. This time the Iranian capabilities are of a very high order of magnitude.
One minute. So my question is, what are we looking to? General Bakshi, General Bakshi, this is somewhere, Troy. 1 minute, General Bakshi, 1 minute. Somewhere. I understand where you're coming from, Ryan, but Americans will be concerned. See, Sierra, you don't want a Pearl Harbor moment out here. It's maybe America's military strategists have taken it too easy by assuming, Sierra and Dean, that you send 5,000 American Marines and they can solve the problems of the world. It's no longer that way. To send these paratroopers out as an additional military option, you have to realize you are putting boots on the ground. What will happen after that? Dean, can anyone predict what will happen after that? Sierra, what will they just hang around? This American Marines, will they just hang around, have a picnic around and do nothing? You see, the longer this goes, Trump will be under pressure to show some muscle. He might end up making a mistake, Sierra. Dean?
Well, I do not want to see boots on the ground. And I think President Trump knows that the majority of the American people feel that way. And so I believe that his military strategy, is going to continue to prioritize not putting boots on the ground, and making sure that we're not hanging around there. That's absolutely not the goal, to get in and out of Iran as quickly as possible.
No, but, do you predict where this goes? Let's assume a situation. Let's war game this, Dean. An American-class amphibious assault ship travels across the South China Sea, lands near the Strait of Hormuz. It's not going to be easy then saying, go, open the Strait of Hormuz. It's not going to open like that.
Iran has a navy, Iran has forces out there. Things can escalate, things can go nasty, right, Dean?
So I will use a quote from Gandhi here to express, my view here. Nonviolence is a weapon of the strong. It was something that Gandhi, lived by in terms of bringing the people of India together for their struggle for democracy and freedom from the British rule. Britain moved away and created that opportunity. Donald Trump and the Israelis, who have been under attack by this terrorist regime for the better part of 47 years, unfortunately, they do not abide by that. There were 9 to 10 million people killed in the Second World War. We're in a different time. We're with an Iranian regime backed by China and Russia, ultimately, having terrorist actions. Where I think the Marines are going, I think they're going to Kharg Island. They're going to secure that as a port, and the Americans will control the flow of oil, and that will mean that the oil will get out to the world. That's certainly a military strategy that could be deployed if they cannot get an agreement put in place. But bottom line is that I see that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened in a month from now, and oil will be flowing. The economies will be working well again, and we will rid the world of this totalitarian, theocratic regime that has done nothing but terror around the world. That's what's at stake. It's peace and democracy in the future. So I would ask everybody to look at this from a global perspective and where this might take us.
Well, I don't think taking over Kharg is going to be like the picnic you make it out to be. I think this is where it gets very worrisome. I just want to get Troy in one sec. Troy, when you hear this version, what are your thoughts? I don't think it's a very realistic version. 1 month into the war, but what are your thoughts?
I think things are going to escalate and things are going to get much worse before they get better. This goes back to the whole premise, which is the fact that this war started without any strategy, that this President Trump, did not necessarily take the full scope of advice. There's a reason why other U.S. presidents, both Democrat and Republican, have not been at war with Iran. We understand the challenges that come with being on the ground. Most Americans do not want boots on the ground. Folks are starting to feel that. Folks are concerned about sending our sons and daughters overseas. We're already losing thousands of people in the war. We've already lost 13 U.S. soldiers in the war. And I think personally, the way that the president handled their deaths when they came back and he was saluting them with a campaign hat and then sending fundraising emails afterwards, I think was very distasteful. And so, at the very core of this, we have deeply unserious people at the helm of a serious issue. And a lot of the folks here, whether it's the president himself, whether it's the Secretary of Defense, these are unqualified people. They're not taking the advice of those that know this work. And also the United States Congress has given up their power to be the checks and balance to this president. So I think things are going to escalate. Things are going to get worse. We're going to be in a more precarious situation. We have alienated some of our allies around this. And again, when it comes to this Strait of Hormuz, I think it's a little bit more than just about, the energy and oil. It's about food insecurity. It's about a third of the world's fertilizer comes through there. So
I put it simply, if it was so simple, Troy, then why hasn't America done it, General Bakshi? If it is so simple, Saurabh, that you send the 2,000 paratroopers, they'll just tell the Iranians, get out of Kharg Island, they'll take it over, Strait of Hormuz will be open, it's over. Why hasn't it happened so far?
I'll tell you, Arnab, as a strategic analyst, that you're absolutely right. This is not as easy. Iran operation is a very complicated operation. And obviously, the Marines, if you ask me, according to my strategic assessment, there is no appetite in the US for a full-scale ground invasion. That's point number one. The Marines are there for power projection. Obviously, there are certain targets that you and me cannot speculate on, but there is certain things that they want to do. One, certainly a key priority is to open Strait of Hormuz. And that also comes not only by the US, but some of its allies as well. And there is a greater clarity coming here in Washington, D.C. that can only happen if allies join in. And that view is being debated as we speak at the Pentagon and other places where the decision-making is happening. Second thing, on Kharg Island, yes, I would agree with Dean. That's the second priority where you see that some kind of energy and oil flow can happen once you take Karg Island, which is, obviously General Bakshi knows better about wars than I do, but can be the second doable option that they have. But I don't see at all a full-scale ground invasion happening. I also see, as I mentioned earlier, the talks that are happening will yield some result, and you will not have the need for a full-scale ground operation in this war on Iran. That's my view.
I've seen nothing but
Arnab,
nothing visible on the ground to suggest
understanding into this.
Yes, General Bakshi.
Arnab, I'm paid. 37 years I spent in the military. Can I please explain to my good friends the military realities? Karg Island, 15 kilometers from the mainland, right? Artillery from the mainland can blast that place. Drones from the mainland. Have you seen the Ukraine war? Drones. The Russians don't operate in groups bigger than 6 to 7 because the drones will make mincemeat out of you. War has changed, man. Number two, there are 30 islands in the Gulf of Hormuz. You want to capture any of them, Karg or whichever, larger Qum, greater Qum, lesser Qum, Abu Musa, whatever you want, you will have to get the amphibious assault ship into the Gulf. If he's going to send his landing boats out. Please realize, please understand, for God's sake, that your aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln, which was in the Gulf, had to get out to the Gulf of Oman, get out from there. And it has been hit again today, right? Do you understand that the other aircraft carrier, the Gerald Ford, is now in Crete, limping back to the United States? It has been hit. These are Nimitz-class carriers, 100,000 tons, with 70 aircraft on each, fighter bombers. These are small, little mini carriers, 40,000 tons each. 13 to 14 F-35s, VTOLs. For God's sake, if your aircraft carriers couldn't stay there, what are you doing, man?
I also want to go back to Moscow at this stage. Peter, is it Peter? You study. I want to go to Peter again because I think that's a very unipolar world point of view, Peter. You are an expert on a multipolar world order. You know about how the power balance has shifted. Is it going to be that easy, as our friend from Canada says?
You mean the transfer to the multipolar order? I think that it's a very unpredictable way, and with many regional powers rising simultaneously, and it means that we will have more and more regional and local conflicts and tensions. So it's not easy thing. Also, there is a question about what about a leader of the previous unipolar world? Would it be easier for the United States to accept the future role as one of many regional powers, or the United States wants to stay in the center of the system built by the United States and allies? So there are so many unpredictabilities in this way. And this conflict demonstrates that even the close alliances, such as NATO, cannot be united and consolidated in the situation of this crisis and the way to the multipolar world.
I go back to Ryan for a last word. Ryan, now today is the 25th of March, right? It's been a month now. A month back, people would have believed you. You are the founding leader of the Conservative Party of Iran. You support Raza Pahlavi. You say this war is the only chance to end the Islamic rule of the clerics in Iran. But today, Ryan, today if you were to go back to Iran, first of all, could you?
No, absolutely not. They will execute me immediately. No, they will execute me.
They will execute you immediately, and you are obviously going to be a target. You're going to be killed. But where is the civic nationalism which you spoke about? You keep saying this. I've heard you talk about civic nationalism. Maybe, Ryan, the way Trump has been talking and dealing and bombing, it's only making America less popular. And where are all the people who would come out? You can't say they're all afraid. This was their moment. They have, in that sense, not risen to the occasion.
Look, if you want an answer, you must go back what happened on January 8th and January 9th. The people, it's a revolution happening. That's why we need to go back why all of this is started. Why all of this was started. Because the regime killed more than 40,000 people during the January 8th and January 9th uprising, which was after the call to protest by this man, His Majesty Reza Shah Pahlavi, which you disrespected tonight. You called him a CIA asset. If he is a CIA asset, why the Voice of America is talking against him? The propaganda machine of America is talking against Reza Shah Pahlavi constantly 24/7. Why is that? Because he's not a CIA asset. He's not conceding anything to America. And that's why he's not right now in America. He's in Europe because of his safety. Because of everything. So you guys must understand, you foreigners, that there is a factor called the Iranian people. I'm an Iranian. I'm 30 years old. I don't want this regime because this regime is a theocracy. They created misery. We lost our youth, everything. We lost our country. Look at our country. There's nothing left of our country. Nothing. So people came to the streets, they took to the streets, they chanted in favor of this man, His Majesty, en masse. That's on tape, like thousands of videos. You cannot deny that. And also they chanted against the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah killed people en masse, tens of thousands. How you can be worried about why Ayatollah is gone? People celebrated the death of Ayatollah because they don't want a theocracy.
Carry out
and
genocide and mass
this old man called the Persian Gulf. He called the Persian Gulf the Gulf of Hormuz. It means he doesn't know anything about Iran. He even doesn't know the name of the Gulf. The name is the Persian Gulf.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
The Gulf of Hormuz.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ryan Amiri. He leads the Conservative Party of Iran in exile. He says, if I go back, I'll be executed. I don't discount that. I don't doubt that. But as of now, Ryan, despite your very strong intervention, we're back to status quo tonight. And that's the only headline I can give you on this Wednesday evening. We're on status quo right now. As far as Reza Shah Pahlavi is concerned, if he comes on Republic, we'll be happy to have him on live, wherever he is, Europe, the US, wherever he is tonight. And viewers, I'll see you soon. Very soon. The breaking news continues. Good night and goodbye.
For a quick breather, Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र.
जब अपना कोई मूव किसी को मूव करता है ना यार, फील आ जाती है.
भाई तू अपना है, तेरा सफर मुझे भी करना है. तूने प्रूफ कर दिखाया यार, anybody can dream.
मुझे लगा मैं नहीं, पूरा का पूरा मूवमेंट चल रहा है. Breathable fabrics, awesome comfort, effortless style, AD from the house of Arvind.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात. वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा सिम. MDH का जलजीरा जीरा सिम.
जीरा सिम, असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा.
MDH.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार.
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आरप्योर मसाला.
हमें धीरज के साथ, संयम के साथ, शांत मन से हर चुनौती का मुकाबला करना है. इसलिए मैं देशवासियों से भी कहूंगा कि हमें हर चुनौती के लिए तैयार रहना ही होगा। जैसा कि हम देख रहे हैं कि इस युद्ध को लेकर पल पल में हालात बदल रहे हैं। आदरणीय सभापति जी, ये संकट अलग प्रकार का है और इसके समाधान भी अलग प्रकार से ही तय किए जा रहे हैं। हमें धीरज के साथ, संयम के साथ, शांत मन से हर चुनौती का मुकाबला करना है। आदरणीय सभापति जी, जैसा कि हम देख रहे हैं कि इस युद्ध को लेकर पल पल में हालात बदल रहे हैं, इसलिए मैं देशवासियों से भी कहूंगा कि हमें हर चुनौती के लिए तैयार रहना ही होगा। इस युद्ध के दुष्प्रभाव लंबे समय तक रहने की प्रबल आशंका है, लेकिन मैं देशवासियों को भरोसा देता हूं, सरकार सतर्क है, तत्पर है और पूरी गंभीरता से रणनीति बना रही है, हर निर्णय ले रही है। देश की जनता का हित।
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
जब अपना कोई मूव किसी को मूव करता है ना यार, फील आ जाती है।
भाई तू अपना है, तेरा सफर मुझे भी करना है। तूने प्रूव कर दिखाया यार, एनीबॉडी कैन ड्रीम।
मुझे लगा मैं नहीं, पूरा का पूरा मूवमेंट चल रहा है। Breathable fabrics, awesome comfort, effortless style, AD from the house of Arvind.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरी राजा,
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।